Welcome to Movie Lounge, guys. I'm your host, Stephen Wasung, and I have no idea why I keep doing this, but welcome to another episode of live episodes, as I keep repeating myself. So, I realized the last couple episodes haven't been up to par recently with this whole new format and stuff. It's new for me, so I apologize for it not being as upper quality as what the shows used to be like. So I'm still working out some kinks. But today we're going to talk about DC films, and we're going to talk about a movie I watched 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So yeah, let's dive in, shall we? So if you guys want to comment, you guys can during the live show. Yeah, let's dig in. Conversation time. So we're going to talk about DC films and the big fiasco problems that's going on with them. And so it kind of started with Zack Snyder, pretty much. With Man of Steel, it almost became kind of like trying too hard and too serious. And I feel like when I saw Man of Steel, visually they're good. I think that's one thing I think has it with them is visually it's really good movies, but story wise the character development isn't there, and it lacks it. And that's the problem with Zack Snyder is he always lacks character development. And you can see it a lot with his movies. I would say 300 is a little bit different. That's because it was actually I have no idea why that one. I can set that one apart as character driven a lot more. But recently with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and so on. Now and even with even though Zack Snyder didn't direct Suicide Squad, the character development in that movie wasn't up to par. And I feel like they're playing catch up with Marvel. And even I would even throw them in with Fox. And it's become kind of a cluster because they have a formula that they feel is working, but it's not necessarily working because of all the problems. They're trying to cram so much into it. They started off with Man of Steel, starting it all off, and then they instead of just building different characters in their own separate movies like Marvel did, they went straight in for Man of Steel, which I really wanted to work. I wanted to see Batman and Superman fight, and I got like 3 different stories all into one, and it became such a cluster, such a problem that it left me not as interested anymore with DC. And that's what it came down to. It's not because I'm a Marvel fan and I hate DC movies. I think DC has great animation movies. It doesn't. Live action Marvels will be better because they structured themselves. They spent like what? Since 2008, they've built this whole entire movie now. So now I think it's going to be when Avengers 4 comes out, there's going to be 22 Marvel movies. And I think where the studio wants to take it. And with everything, so you got Batman v Superman, which had, and I think with the critics, it can be a little bit different because sometimes critics will be too harsh or not so harsh on movies. But I think they got it right with Batman v Superman that it wasn't what people thought it was going to be. And then you had Suicide Squad, which had great trailer, but just it lacked everything going into it when I saw it. And now that Wonder Woman, that could be good, but I feel like they're trying to piggyback off of Marvel, which is fine, but I think what that's going to end up doing is going to hurt itself. But I could be totally wrong. I'm hoping for Wonder Woman to be good. I want to see a good Wonder Woman movie. And have later this year is going to be Justice League, which I feel like it's going to be more visual and less character driven. And I've always said I'm a very visual type person. I am. But when it comes to comic book movies, I want to have character driven people. I want to feel for that character in a superhero movie. Because if I don't feel for that character, I'm not gonna want to see any more of it. Because it's just I'm just there to see visuals, and I'm more for character. But with other genres, I'm a lot more visual because that's how I relate to storytelling. It's more visual. But with comic books, for some reason, I'm more about like I want to see characters, and I think that's fine. I think that's okay with people that they want to be connected with characters. That's why we're into the comic books. Is when we read the comics, like we're not there for the visuals or the art. Sometimes we are, but mostly we're there for like the characters and how they build up for it. So I think that's the problem, and I think with Ben Affleck not directing the Batman, and I don't know if it's confirmed he's not being Batman after Justice League. You guys can correct me on that. I haven't really gone much into it because there are rumors, and I'm not really, unless the studio confirms it, then okay. So I haven't really dabbled much into like how Ben Affleck is feeling about Batman and the whole DC. But I think he's producing, as far as I know. He's going to produce and stay on in some way. But I think that's the problem. If they can just kind of step back and look at everything and just be like, okay, this is what we need to do to fix it. Because frankly, we're not doing a good job. And I know they've been trying to do that a lot more, but I think with DC and Warner Brothers specifically, they want to have that Marvel Studio persona. They want to be up there with Marvel and stuff. And I think they will. They'll eventually get there. It could be after Wonder Woman could be that key, or it could be something else. But I think once they figure out what the problem is with them, then they'll get there. I know with Marvel, there are a lot of comic reliefs, and a lot of it's more kid friendly. Go with that route. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with DC totally copying everything that Marvel did. I'm fine with that. That's perfectly fine. But just do it in the right way. That's my thought on it, and I know a lot of people have been asking me about that because comic book news is a big thing now. So we're gonna talk about a movie. Today's gonna be short because it's Friday, and usually Friday episodes are gonna be a lot shorter just because at the end of the week and mostly during the weekend, a lot of movie news will come out, and then we can just cram everything in there. And then also talk about movies or any of your questions as I just ramble on. So one of the movies I saw was Patriots Day, and it was directed by Peter Berg with starring Mark Wahlberg, and in this one with history type films, current event films, I would say, it's hard for me to kind of judge it because I like to see current event films, something that happened based on true stories. I like those type of movies, like Lone Survivor and everything, which was directed by Peter Berg. Fantastic movie. If you haven't seen that movie, I would recommend seeing that. It's a very emotionally driven movie. So like movies like 13 Hours, Zero Dark 30, those movies. When you're making a movie about history or a current event, I like to have it wait like a few years after. But in this case, with Patriots Day, because I thought I wasn't as excited to see, even though I remember it because it happened I think it was 2013, and it was still fresh in my head, and I was just like, I don't know if this is going to go really well. I don't know how it's going to be. So I never saw it in theaters. I rented it, and when I finally saw it, my wife wasn't particularly wanting to see it because she's not into those types of movies, but I was surprised. It was such an engaging movie. If you want to talk about character driven, this movie is full of it. Mark Wahlberg showed the potential of how good of an actor he is. Because you'll hear a lot of jokes about him, like, oh, he's not funny, or he's not a good actor, why is he doing this? This movie, Patriots Day, with him teaming up with Peter Berg and Deep Horizon and with Lone Survivor, they are a team that I like now. It's a dead set. If any movie they're in that Peter Berg is directing and Mark Wahlberg's acting in, I'm on board. It's such a powerful movie, and it's not propaganda at all. and you kind of get that sense of feeling watching the trailers that, okay, this could be a propaganda, like shove it in my face. It's not that. It's about a city in Boston. It's about the city of Boston coming together and just taking down this pretty much essentially a terrorist attack. And it's during the bombing of the Boston Marathon, and it starts off a little bit before that, like I think it was like a day before the marathon happened, and then it gives a timeline, complete timeline with other people following other people's scenarios of what happened, how they feel, and it paints a beautiful picture, and it's visually amazing. It's very emotional. I was very emotional because I remember that whole thing happening. I was at work when that happened, and I was just like, this is insane. And being a Boston Red Sox fan and a Patriots fan, seeing how Boston kind of came together as not just as a city, but just as a whole, just showing America and showing the world like, hey, something drastic happened and a lot of lives were lost. This is something we're going to take on our own. And they went through it, and I think the hunt lasted, I want to say 48 hours. It was like 2 or 3 days or more, and there's no words I could describe how good it was. Like it's phenomenal. Like if this was up for Best Actor, Mark Wahlberg hands down should win, because he shows the emotional side of it, and he shows the fear and how scared he was, but he went on with it as playing the actor, not probably him as a person. But yeah, so as you can tell, I'm not the best at movie reviews like you see on YouTube, but when I see a movie, I like to let people know, and I would highly recommend seeing this movie, watching it, enjoying it. It's such a good film. Like you will be shocked at how much it's not like. And that was one thing. Like the trailers didn't portray it enough. I felt like the trailers didn't give it full justice. When you see it, you'll realize, wow, this is such a good movie. So if you like Peter Berg and what he's doing, I would definitely check out Lone Survivor. That's an emotional. That's a crazy roller coaster, fun movie, great acting, just all around fun. I haven't seen Deep Rising yet, but I've wanted to. I heard it's really good. So yeah, that is today's show. As again, it's a shorter show, and if you guys have any questions, you can email us at themovielounge15@gmail.com, or you can Facebook us, comment, ask questions. We would love to answer your questions or just have a conversation with you guys. Or you can leave a comment down below. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you guys Monday.